What's going on, YouTube? This is going to be the video for our trigger job on my Glock 27. The parts you're going to need out of your gun are the trigger and trigger bar, your striker or firing pin, your selected connector, which in this case is a 3.5 pound Glock connector, and your safety plunger. The tools that you'll be needing are some Q-tips, a degreasing agent or alcohol to get all the grease off your Glock parts that you have, a Dremel or Fordham tool with a felt bob, and in this case we're using Brownell's 1/2 by 3/4 inch square felt bob, the Norton Ultra Fine Hard Arkansas Stone, and the Norton Fine Grit Arkansas Stone, some oil or cutting agent or cutting oil, and Brownell's polishing compound. In this case we're using 555 white. Now, before you attempt your trigger job, I'll warn you that if done improperly, that you can render your weapon unsafe and or illegal when you fire it, meaning that you could have a runaway gun or turn it into an automatic. So at this time I take no responsibility for your actions and do this upon your own risk. To do the trigger job, we're going to first take your safety plunger depressor on your trigger bar and just lightly stone this down to where it's nice and even and shiny, along with the back of your connector or trigger bar where it rides on your connector, keeping the same radius. The back of the trigger bar where it rubs against the connector to make sure it's square. And this gun doesn't have it, but if your sear pickup has a lot of inconsistencies or isn't cut even or stamped even at the factory, then you would want to keep the same angle on the sear and stone that lightly. We're also going to polish the entire trigger bar with the White's 555 with the safety plunger on all the outside bearing surfaces and the top. Polish the entire 3.5 pound connector. And on your striker assembly, we're going to stone at the back. You can tell right here where it's rubbing against the slide frame, along with the other side. We'll stone that until you can't see the scars. Polish the head of the striker, keeping the same angle for pickup. Polish the body, not touching the head of the assembly or firing pin, and we're going to leave that alone. So next time you see this, they'll all be polished and ready to be put back in our Glock. Alright, here's our finished product after it's been polished and stoned. Let's take a quick look at the firing pin. Notice there aren't any more scratches. And left the striker head alone. The plunger is nice and polished. The head. your disconnector. And trigger bar. You can see how smooth the back end is right here. You kept the same radius, the same for the safety detent plunger deactivator. And the back side of the trigger bar where it rides on the disconnector. And that concludes our trigger job. Remember, an armed society is a polite society.